Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. How y'all doing today? Fine. Welcome to the Life Celebration by Franklin Monthly Grief Symposium. Today, October the 27th. Today our meeting grief, and we're going to get started today. We have first time attendee is Janet McGuire. Let's welcome Ms. Janet. Again. And I think that's all I have for right now. So, Miss Janet, just want you to know that the grief session is we're not a crying session. We're real upbeat. We have a very upbeat facilitator. So we can do a lot of music, and as you've already heard. So you guys already know what I'm gonna say. You guys.
Cornbread by Mama Bella here. She's a good cook. Listen, I ate that cornbread, woke up this morning, guess what? My stomach said, you ate the cornbread? My stomach bloated. I'm like, man. So I got to deal with this bloated stomach here, all because of the gluten, but that's okay. I ate two small pieces of that, but I have really been better. I've been doing that. I was getting massage. I did that, but I also went to therapy. I go to therapy every month without fail. I see my therapist, and I don't just have a therapist, I have a psychotherapist, which means they're up there. That's the kind of help that I need. And I see him faithfully once a month. So I did that. I've done some self-reflection. Sometimes it's good for us to sit back and just reflect on our lives, see where you are, what have you accomplished, what are some things that you need to work on. So I've done some self-reflection, which was really, really good. And something else that I did is I tackled some hard things. Hard things. We have to deal with hard things. What do I mean? We have to have some hard conversations with them. Or we have to go into places that may be difficult to go because it reminds us of our loved ones. But I've done several things. A couple of weeks ago, I did some hard things, and I'm really proud of myself. It really feels good when you tackle a hard thing. So those are the things that I have done for myself since I left now. Learn the things. Marie's gonna go around, right? Oh, Tennille, that's right. I forgot Tennille's here. Tennille's gonna go around. We want you to speak in the mic so that our guests that are online with us can hear your response. So would you just raise your hand? Those of you who are going to share, what have you done for yourself since we saw you last? And she's gonna bring you the mic and you can talk into the mic. I love these everyone. Like it's brand new. Like y'all know, y'all have someone over here. Your mom is going to share. She's going to get you the mic.
Well, I decided to take some time off to do some self-care, some self-reflecting.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm just now doing things on my
Mm-hmm. So you took some me time. You took time. You mean you took time off work?
time off work.
Oh, that is good. Very good. Good for you. Thank you for sharing. Y'all clap for her. That is good. Setting some boundaries. Okay.
Okay. I'm alleged that my boyfriend was here today, but I'm here and from control. Yeah. And we've been 3 years, and it's just been like 1:30 today. You're going to
Very good.
and it's also on my dog's birthday. She's 7 today, and she adored him and he adored her. But yeah, I decided to go out and not stay home and look into just going out with some girlfriends afterwards to one of his favorite restaurants. And to be able to run together and have a drink. This is coming here.
Y'all clap for sharing. So you just shared a great example of a heart thing. Can I have it? I just want to show his picture around. I'm coming right back. Producer. He's like, don't you move. Hey, Mr. Don't you move. TAB, so this is Tab. Handsome guy. 69, give her the ass. My young was 69. Mind if I said Tab? We could honor him on that 1 year. She could have easily stayed at home, like she said in Lamented, but she decided. So thank you for sharing that, and then she has plans afterwards. Awesome, awesome. Anybody else? Oh, here. I know as senior, I took a trip to Vegas. I was looking at girls. I said, Mr. Fisher, you can't join me on this point. But after I got back, I reflected on, I chose to do it. Good. I looked at it, I said, teaching everybody, I was praying. So I took them basic part of September because his birthday was September 10th. And I applied myself to the 12th. I released his truck.
And as a preparation for this, you don't really know how you're going to feel until that part of whatever you actually need. So when I got up, he said, I'm here. And I said, okay. I thought I could go in there. I thought I really want to watch. I thought I wanted to watch. And so I went back to the door. I'm like, I was just get the car, truck car going. I'm like, really happy. So it was really hard. And I really had to self-care mode again to say, I can get through it. And you go. I really got stuck in September. I took care of it. I got a lot of rest. I reflected on my journey. I was doing it. So I was strengthened to endure. And I thank God that I started that journey because now I'm on the journey.
And that journey is who is that?
I just lost my niece. She was trapped healing on Monday, the 21st. So everything is going through another journey. And I thank God with this place. So I thank you for all that God is helping me through.
Awesome. Y'all got to share all the hard feelings. So you are going through your loved ones belonging and having to release them. That there's an emotional, sentimental attachment to that. So you did a couple of hard things, releasing the truck, and you're here like Shelly on today. Could have been at home, but you came to come to grief support. Why? Because again, and it's not selfish. So I want you to change that term. When we talk about it's self-food. That's self-food. You're not selfish when you take time for you. You're taking time for you so that you can be there for other people. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I woke up.
Yeah. Oh, don't make it hard. That's the last thing.
Then my friend had me to go to the rail. I ate too much.
You ate too much.
Then I waste everything on the road. I'm spending one. I'm here.
She loves her wine. So you know what it's like. Share that she went out to eat. And we want you to work on the drive. Let's not drive. You work it out, okay. Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Hey, y'all. Hey, girl. So we are done. Last month, we were pretty much focused on mental and physical. This month is spiritual. So we got baptized. Now we're focused on getting more involved with our church. It's like they pray today, comes out by the way, so there comes out people. Hey, it's like our Christian girl era. So it feels great. And just really making me yes. You know, I'm here. I love it here.
Awesome. You clap for the twins. You speak for Rocky Knowledge. On physical or mental, this month we're focused on spiritual. It can be overwhelming when you're in grief for sure, and you're trying to address all of these things in your life. Take one thing like me, my diet, it has taken me a year to adjust to the gluten-free diet. So you gotta give yourself time because you didn't get where you are overnight. Okay, in this space. So good. I was at y'all age to do that. Y'all are awesome. And healing takes place in community. So they found their faith community, they found their grief support community. We're supposed to find those connections. So Thank you so much for sharing. All right. Anybody else want to share what you guys have done since I saw you last? That is now. How are you doing with the decluttering? Remember, we started that in July. We started in July. It's called Grief to Peace. You know what gratitude need to share? It's called Grief to Peace. And it says create a peaceful environment to reduce stress. It fosters calmness and enhance both your mental health and your grief journey. So the goal is for you to declutter your personal life and to deal with your loved ones. So now, depending upon when your loved one died, if it's too soon, you may be in the first 2 years, you may not be in that space of doing that. But if it's beyond 2 years, now is the time for us to take steps in decluttering our loved ones' things and definitely our personal items. Okay? So for me, again, you know, I'm always going to share, I'm always going to be truthful. I did really good. I was proud of myself from July, and then I got around about September, and September, I got back to my office. The paper clip has been wearing me out. It is so overwhelming. So overwhelming. So I started moving it around and working through that. And my goal, and I will be finished during by December 31st. So that has been my challenge. I've done every room in the house. I've done my mental. I've done my physical. But that paper has been a challenge. So I'm working on that. So when you pray, y'all pray that Lord help her and help Tonya with that paper club. So I can get that out. Okay? Because, excuse me, our environment is a direct reflection of what's going on internally. So if we have a cluttered environment, guess what's going on? We're cluttered emotionally, we're cluttered mentally. Okay, so when we see that physical clutter, what it does a lot of times it causes mental clutter in your head, in your brain, and in your mind. So wherever you are on the journey, no shame. All of us are on our own race against us, nobody else. But just make sure you want to get that done. Okay, so how y'all been doing on your decluttering challenge? Has anybody been decluttering? You did the well. You did the whole house. You did the whole house. Okay, whole house. That's right. That's right. Okay, good, good, good. Anybody else? Cassie, you got rid of the white last. You got rid of the baby clothes, right? Okay. My husband picked it over like it's something else she needs to be done. She's on the paper clutter journey too as well. Okay, all right, well good. Okay, I need you to be active in that. Anybody else? Have you done anything? No? You got 66 more days until December 31st. Yes, sir. Wait, she's bringing you the mic. I'm sorry.
I'm piggybacking off of you with the paper clutter. I've been holding on to all my college paperwork bills.
Wait a minute, when did you graduate?
It was some years ago, 8 in the morning. But I've been holding on to all of that. And I'm like, maybe somebody can use it. How can they use it if I didn't want to share it?
There you go. Absolutely.
So I have boxes and boxes of old school work, old paperwork from my old job when I lived in Houston and here. And so I decided like I'm moving on. So
Good. So you started decluttering, you did it already.
I started doing it.
You said, God clap for him. That's a major accomplishment. Good for you. Good for you. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm proud of myself because we just cleaned my mom's house out. My mom should be passed away December the 27th. We cleaned out her house. Me, my husband, my cousin, and a couple of my family members. So that was real hard, even for me, because I was the only kid. So that was real hard for me. I don't know, sometimes I have my moments, but I'm proud of myself.
That's
I'm
major.
able to handle it. But I'm glad that I came and supported it and help me clean it out.
Yeah.
Lord, she had a lot of stuff. And I'm like, oh, Lord.
They keep giving us.
Yes, they do.
What knots and all? What knots? Y'all know what all what knots? Y'all clap for her. Major. Yes, you should be proud because you hadn't even made it to the year. You're coming up on that 1 year, remembrance of her being gone, and you did it within that year. So that is major, something worth being proud of. So good. Did anybody else want to share? So for those of you who are having challenges with it, like me, a tip would be just narrow your focus. Because a lot of times say, okay, I'm doing my closet. Well, depending upon how big your closet is. Okay, how many pair of shoes you have? I'm not trying to step on nobody's toes. Nothing. I'm just saying. You may want to say, well, maybe I'm just going to take the clothes, and then I'll deal with the shoes. Just break it down into sections, and that way it won't be as overwhelming. Something else you can do is set a timer. Every day. It would be good if you could do something because what happens is this is what I would do. Kind of like with my diet. Before I got to this space of clean living, I would say, I'm going on a diet. Jimmy, I'm going on a diet. Then I mess up on Wednesday and I said, well, I might do a week of Monday to start. I'm starting a diet. I don't know what it was about Monday. I'm going to start on Monday with a diet. Okay, same thing with cleaning. I want to set a whole day. But then I don't have a whole day with the schedule that I have now. I don't have a whole Saturday. So maybe I can commit half a Saturday. Or how about just 30 minutes? How about just 30 minutes? So my point is just set a time. Even if it's for 15 minutes, I'm going to declutter. And when that timer goes off, you stop and you go to it another day. Okay? So just break it down into small chunks. And then lastly, when you are decluttering, when you are sorting out things, sometimes we can be distracted with the clutter because we'll see something that needs to be done. Oh, I need to call these people. Well, you haven't called them by now, so just put it over here in the pile. You don't have to call them then. So when you're going through your piles and there's something that needs follow-up, make your follow-up pile. That's a pile that you got to go back to once you finish the decluttering. But you don't necessarily have to stop while you are in the process of decluttering to deal with that thing because it's been there forever. Does that make sense? So say this: progress over perfection. Progress over perfection is what you need to do. Okay? Progress over perfection. All right. So now let's go to our handout for today. You can look at that, pick that up. Our handout we're talking about integration and meaning and grief. Integration and meaning and grief. Now, depending upon where you are in your journey will determine if you can apply this information right now. For some of you, it may be too soon because your loss is recent. It's recent and it's wrong. So I always like to repeat, remember, there's no time frame for grief to end because it never ends. Because grief is what happens on the inside of you. It's emotional, it's a chemical response. But the pain of grief doesn't end. So if I see you 5 years down the road and ask you, how you doing since you did that? If you tell me 5 to 6 years down the road, it feels like the day he died, that means that we got to do some more. Because the pain will lessen to the point, guess what? You won't even be able to trace it. I know that you can't believe that right now because the pain is so painful right now, so intense. But as you continue to do your grief, and remember, do your grief work, remember the type of loss. Now, if it's complicated grief, it may take you a little longer than 45 years to find your new love. Like she shared, her niece died violently. So that put her and her family in what we call complicated grief. It's a little more intense. So if your loss happened just now, you're in acute grief, that's where you are. You're your family, you're in acute grief. If your loss happened between 1 to 2 years, you're in what we call early grief. Early grief. If your loss is beyond the 2 years, up until today, you're in what we call mature grief. mature grief. So depending upon where you are in that spectrum will determine if you can apply this information or not. So if you can't apply it now, no worries, put it in your folder and you'll pull it out a little bit later when you can apply it. Any thoughts about the picture that you see? Any meaning, any thoughts come together about that? Brokenness, you see brokenness, absolutely. Stress, you see stress.
Mind is all over the place.
Mind is all over the place. Sadness, you see all of these things. But also I see are coming together. You see his face, it is cracked. Mind is all over the place on the right. But those pieces in my mind and brain, they're coming back together. So we're talking about integration and meaning. Look underneath the picture, it says the journey of healing and finding, keyword, if you have a pencil, yeah, and got a pencil, underline finding. Finding meaning. You gotta find it through the mosaic of memories and experiences. Okay? So grief is not just about moving through the stages. It's a deeply personal journey. And even when you're a family going through a grief process together, each of you individually will have your individual deep personal journey. So as the grief expert David Kessler explains, he's one of our leading people in the industry as well. He says the most profound aspect of healing involves finding meaning underlying within. You gotta find the meaning within our grief because I taught you that grief never ends. So you gotta find the meaning within it. And what does that do? Allowing us to live on in a way that honors both ourselves and the one that we lost. So the best way when you have a death loss to honor that person is for you to live well. But you cannot live well until you mourn well. And believe it or not, many of us don't even know what living well looks like. I'm not talking about materialistically. I'm talking about taking care of yourself, taking care of your mental health, taking time off work for you. That's honoring you. And what caused you to do that is a death. Here's that Newton's law of motion. Says a body at rest is going to stay at rest until a greater force comes along and moves it out of the way. Why? Because we're creatures of habit. We like what we like. We're going to sit in the same space. Even here, when y'all come in here, you gravitate to the corner that you like. Okay, we do that in church. God rest my auntie's soul. No, her number was sitting on a certain pew, and if somebody was in her seat, I mean, it was like fireworks. I'm like, now she in my seat. Creature of habit. Okay, so what happens? A crisis has to come and move us out of that spot. Versus us volunteering saying, I'm going to stop eating gluten. See, a crisis had to come. A bloated stomach had to come and tell me that I need to stop eating. Okay? So you got to be able to remember that. Let's go to the next page. So finding meaning through understanding. Finding meaning through understanding. Grief doesn't simply end. We just talked about it. It's deep, it's emotional, it's a physical response to loss that becomes, listen to this, a part of who we are. It becomes a part of who we are. And that doesn't mean it's going to be sad all the time. It doesn't mean that. Since we carry the memory of those we lost as we continue to live, underline that, as we continue to live. Because I discovered in grief, working with people, most of us are not living, we are existing. There's a difference. Existing with no purpose, no meaning. Just getting up, going to work, going back home, and doing what it takes to take care of the children, not enjoying life. Like she said, she went to Vegas. Okay? I was doing the same thing. I wasn't living. I was existing. Okay? So it says this integration allows us to accept that a full life holds both sorrow and joy. Underline it. So just because you are sad, it doesn't mean that you can't have joy. Some people feel, which is a common grief response, when they have joy, they feel guilty. My loved one is not here. How can I be happy? Okay? The happiness is not about them not being here, it's about you experiencing life, even though they're not learning to push to that path. So grief is more than just processing a loss. What is it? It's about weaving that loss into our ongoing lives and finding meaning along the way. David says, a leading voice, he's a leading voice of the grief and healing, and he emphasizes that creating meaning underline that. What can that do? Transform your journey, guiding us forward while honoring those we miss. Okay? I'm having you to do these things to underline because I want to put emphasis on that. And that calls you to participate in it. And in it means this process and to be engaged in that. The word is create. To create something means that we have to make something out of nothing. Okay? So you gotta create it. So what is this integration in grief? What is that? The first thing you gotta do is acknowledging the permanence of loss. Now, again, depending upon what your loss was, you may not be at that point of acceptance now, that this is my life. Okay? Because the reality is, it is hard for us to accept the death of a significant person because a healthy brain rejects death. It doesn't like it. What's an example of that? If you and your loved one talk every day, and then you pick up the phone for a call, that your brain rejected, like, oh, if your brain thinks the person is still here and it wants to call, you're like, oh, they're not here. That's called the shock and denial. That is normal to do that. My god sister coming up on 1 year of her death anniversary in December, I did the eulogy of my neighbor last month, and he's buried in the same cemetery where my god sister and my parents are. So after doing his committal, I went by to see my god sister's grave. And again, my brain, I'm coming up on 1 year, my brain was like, girl, I can't believe you died for real. It's like, you died. You're not here to see your first grandbaby and all of that. So my brain is still trying to process that. Okay? So at some point, though, as you work through it, you want to acknowledge the permanence of it. So integration means what? Accepting that loss is permanent. It's not about forgetting, but about weaving the experience into the ongoing story of your life. And guess what integration does? It includes pain and life. It includes pain and life. Both of them at once. Both of them at once. So what's another thing you need to do? What is integration in grief? It's adapting to a new reality. Okay, life changes after loss. We know that. Many of us, the big mistake that many of us make, we try to go back to life like it used to be before that person died. You can't do that because you're forever different. Different is not bad, but it's painful in the beginning. Okay? It's painful in the beginning. So integration involves adapting to this new reality while holding on to memories and recognizing that life can still hold meaning. So as we process our loss, we begin to realize that life will never be the same. Can anybody attest to that? Your life is not the same. It is not. Okay? But it can still be meaningful. It can. It doesn't mean it can't be meaningful just because your life is different. Integration involves recognizing the impact of the loss while making room, underline making room, for new experiences and growth. Because you make room for these new experiences, it does not negate the fact that my loved one died. It does not negate the fact that my loved one lived. You're opening yourself because they died and they lived. I know for me, this whole grief thing, again, being in it, working in it for over 30 something years, 35, but never really started applying it until 12 years ago. Never started applying the information that I've been teaching and just the information that God has really been downloading about this grief thing and how I was doing it wrong. I was doing it wrong. Okay? So I absolutely had to learn how to adapt to live without my mother. Never had to do that before. I always had mama here with me. And my dad, I was daddy girl. Love mama, I was daddy girl. I was daddy, here's the thing. Especially because he wanted me to go to the store. He give me some money, he said, keep the change, baby. I'm like, thank you, Dad. Now, my own other hand for my change. She always wanted to change that. So So you got to adapt to that new reality. So what is meaning? So we just talked about integration. What is meaning in grief? Meaning is how we live after experiencing a loss. It's not about finding reasons why someone died, but about how we continue to honor the person and the relationship that we share. David teaches that meaning allows us to shift our focus, underline that, shift our focus from the pain towards transformation and purpose. What you're seeing today is the result of my grief and working through it, speaking, traveling, all of that. Because I started my healing process and this all unfolded. It just unfolded. Barry and I, some of you have heard me share how we talked about it for years. I've known Barry in Greece since the 80s, since 84. And he used to talk about way back then, I want to start a grief group, I want to start a grief group. I said, yes, let's do it, let's do it. But the timing wasn't right because I wasn't ready for it at the time. So once I went through the pain of the divorce and started working through my grief, then it just unfolded. And it started out as one thing for the holidays. You remember that, Marie? It started out, he said, I want to do something for the holidays. And we had two groups back to back on a Sunday. And it went so well, he called it Monday, said, well, the people say they want some help. I think it's time for us to start it. I think it's time for us to start it. And back then, I was fresh out of the divorce. On my healing journey, when I was so scared, and I had a car that was not reliable. And the top, it had make-pop time. You know, those cars that make-pop anytime. I was just struggling and going on. I'm like, Lord, he was talking about, Lord, I'm not gonna get the Austin once a month in this car here. Here I go trying to figure it out, trying to figure out that meaning. And he said, no, we're gonna fly down here, and he didn't know I was jumping. What? You gonna fly me here and pay me to talk? Absolutely, that's meaning that unfolded. But had I not submitted to the process, I wouldn't be here. Okay, so you got to be able to do that. So let's go to the next page. Next page. So meaning. Yeah. So meaning making, what is that? Meaning is often found, underline this, beneath the pain. So I have many clients, especially people of faith. They'll come and had a death and they say, what is the Lord saying? You need to sit on my couch and do what I asked you to do. That's what he's saying. That's what the Lord is saying for you, my child. They want to know the meaning. Why did this happen? I don't know why it happened. And those of us who are people of faith, we know that in God, we don't get all the answers. You know, the word tells us his ways are not ours, his thoughts are not like his, none of that. So we'll never get all of the answers that we want as to why something happened the way that it did. Okay? So, but as you search for your meaning, you don't want to search for it by actively looking for it. You want to search for your meaning. And once you find that, as you heal, the meaning is just gonna come to the surface. Okay? So while the pain is inevitable, suffering can be reduced by focusing on love, lessons, and legacy left behind. So this might involve, guess what? Personal growth, honoring the memory of your loved one, or finding a new sense of purpose in life. Now, for me, the loss that I had was the divorce that helped me discover meaning. I had my, baby died, mama, daddy, excuse me, but I spiritualized all those. Because that's where I was at that time. We were conditioned. Mom said, you just gonna pray about it, baby. I am praying. I hate it when people say pray. Well, I am. The pain is still there. So they weren't teaching back then that the pain is still gonna be there as you pray and as you go through the process of talking to somebody. But as you talk that through, grief shared is grief diminished. The more you talk about it, the more the pain is gonna lessen. Okay? So you want to transcend the pain. Transcending the pain follows under the meaning. Meaning doesn't remove the loss, but it transforms into something that fosters hope, underlying hope, and purpose, even amidst sorrow. So all of y'all have hope, even though you may feel like you don't have it today. How do I know you have hope? Because you can't. A person who doesn't have hope, they would have stayed at home. They could have easily stayed at home. But you have hope. It may be painful right now. And so I'm asking you again in this process when I'm working with people, I said, just trust the process. And as you learn to trust me as you work through this process. I promise you, and I don't make promises lightly, as you follow the process and trust it, again, you're going to feel better. You're going to feel better. And I love when clients come back and say, you sure did tell me that. I had a senior client whose husband died. And she was probably in her mid-70s when her husband died. She's like, ain't nobody else like my husband. I'm not going to marry anymore. I don't think love is available for me. And I said, it can't be. It doesn't matter. It can't be. She saw me 5 years later in a bad way. And she sought me out. She was smiling. I know what she's going to say. I know what she's going to say. She came. She said, you know, when you told me that I may find love again. I said, girl, you got a boyfriend. She was 79, 80 at that point. She said, yeah. And you know, I thought there was no more love for somebody else. But it is. I said, girl, pray for me. Lay your hands on me. If you can find love in your 70s and 80s, you should. But she was comparing. She said, I'm not going to love anybody. No, you'll never love anybody like him. But that doesn't mean that you can't love again. Okay? So finding purpose, for some, meaning comes from giving to others, creating a memorial, or even using your experience to help those in similar situations. So kind of like Tonya just shared earlier, they want to use their gifts. They're here because they had a debt loss, so they want to use their gifts, and that's going to help them through their grief. The loss, listen to this, underline that whole sentence. The loss becomes a catalyst for growth or change in your life. That's what it can be. But if you choose to suppress, you're not going to be catapulted anywhere. You'll get stuck in your grief. And that's not what we want. That's not healthy, okay? So, meaning versus reasons. Meaning is not about searching for a reason behind the loss. Instead, it's about discovering ways to honor that person or the loss and making sense of it in a way that brings personal peace and purpose. Okay? Personal peace and purpose, because it's a choice. It is a choice. So, what are some of the areas of growth that have taken place since your loss? I want you to take a moment and write those down. Where have you seen growth? Because sometimes, because we still feel pain, we feel like we haven't grown. We feel like we haven't progressed. What are some things that have taken place since your loss that are areas of growth? Just take a moment and write those down. That's good. Music to make you relax and groove. Look at y'all right. Y'all doing good. Okay. I'm gonna stop y'all for now. You can continue that when you go home. And I want you to look at that. I've grown. You know, so you can tell you really have grown. I've grown in my grief. You have to be reminded of that. So look at that picture down at the bottom. Someone on Facebook shared that with me. That people tend to think that grief shrinks over time. What really happens is that we go around our grief. And you do. You go around it because the grief never ends. Right? But the pain does. I always say with the pain. Most people think when I say the grief never ends, they're going to be in pain their whole life. That's a choice. Yes, sir.
Is accepting the grief, is that what you want? Like you decide who you begin to person.
growing. That's growing. Yes, that's growing. That's actually what we just kind of talked about in integration, where you accept the permanence of loss. Yes, that is growth. That is growth. Absolutely. So what are some practical steps in finding your meaning? Number one, reflect on your loved one's impact. That part right there. Consider the ways your loved ones shaped your life. What values, what memories or lessons do you carry forward? And finding gratitude for the time spent with them can help in creating that meaning. My mother, I didn't appreciate when she was here and she would say, take care of your body, it's the only one you get. Now that's my motto. I hear her saying that every day, especially when I don't take care of my, she used to say, baby, take care of your body, come on, you don't live. All right, you keep living, keep taking care of your body. It's gonna break down on you one day if you don't take care of it. That's a lesson that I value as I reflect on that impact that she had on me. Okay? What's the second thing? Stay open. Underline that. Stay open. I didn't realize I was not an open-minded person. Very narrow, very close-minded. So meaning doesn't have to arrive all at once or in dramatic ways. It often emerges in quiet moments. I love that. So stay open to discovering it in unexpected places. So a lot of times we're looking for a grand entrance. Meaning, I'm here. What's that movie like? Central Child. No. Meaning gradually just happens. Okay? So honor your grief by doing what? You can engage in your rituals, like coming here, again, or practices that feel meaningful to you, whether it's journaling, like a candle, or visiting a special place. Let me pause right there, because some people speak negative of people who go to the cemetery. Well, they're not there. I know that God, I know she ain't there, but that's where I lay my mama's mind. So I'm going to the cemetery. Why? Because it makes me feel good. Okay? If you don't want to go to the cemetery, don't go. It's whatever makes you feel good. Okay? So just honoring them. Those some of us have special places. Um, these actions can honor both your grief and the memory of your loved one. Definitely seek support. We talk about that all the time. Find comfort in those who understand grief. Underline that sentence. Because some of us are stressed out because we are expecting certain people to be a part of our support system and they don't understand grief. Okay? And that's okay. They're just not a part of your village. Okay? Support groups, friends, and counselors can offer perspectives that may help you uncover meaning along your way. So embrace life's brevity. Okay? The loss may remind you of life's fragility. You can use this awareness to make positive changes or shifts in your own life. Underline that. Make positive shifts or changes in your own life, fueled by the loving lessons your grief has revealed. So that's what I've done. My mother, God rest her soul, I think she died an early death at age 76. That's young to me. I know the young people say that ain't young, but it is when you get it. That's young. Closer to that than anything else. But she never changed her diet. She just stayed on the blood pressure medicine for years. And that was it. Just did what the doctor said as far as taking that medicine, never exercised, I never saw that. So that's why it's so hard for me to develop that. And I never saw that, so I have to definitely make sure that I discipline myself to do that, to change my diet, because I want to live a long, healthy life. So I recognize life's brevity as a result of all the losses in my life. And then reflect on your journey. We kind of talked about that. Spend time in quiet reflection, meditation, journaling, all these practices. What can they do to help process your grief and start to see how your loss it fits into your ongoing life story? How it fits into your ongoing life story. All right? So what are some things we need to know about meaning on the next page? What is this stuff? Meaning is personal. We're going to talk about that. No one else can define what meaning looks like to you. It is unique. All right? And it takes time. Underline that. It takes time. Integration and meaning making doesn't happen overnight. This is a process that will evolve as you navigate your grief journey. It takes, listen to this, months, even years to fully emerge. that meaning. Okay? Meaning does not equal understanding. Finding meaning in loss, it doesn't mean we understand why our loved one died. Even though we may find meaning, it still isn't worth the cost of losing someone. All right? That's a dead loss now. For us who make a divorce, that don't apply. All right, let me step over. Yes, sir. I took a meaning, okay? So you lost a test, not a lesson, not something to handle, not a gift or a blessing. Loss simply happens in life. Because some people say, the Lord was testing me. No, that's not what that was. No. This is a blessing that I went through that. It may feel that way, again, because of what you're experiencing. But the fact that loss just happens in life, and we have to learn how to process that. And only you, underline that whole sentence, only you can find your own meaning. A counselor doesn't tell the client what to do. They make suggestions and lead them the way. They find their own meaning. I have so many times, Miss, just tell me what to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do. You come back and give me. No. You have to find your own meaning. As I give you these examples. Meaningful connections will replace painful memories. Underline that. Whether through therapy, support groups like what we have here, or conversations with trusted friends and family, sharing your grief can help you find what new perspectives and insights. Yeah. So you see the graphic there says, which step have you reached today? I won't do it. I can't do it. I want to do it. How do I do it? I'll try to do it. I can do it. I will do it. Yes, I did it. Find where you are. We all start at the bottom. And to get to the top, what do? You have to take it one step at a time. One step at a time. So grieving is not about letting go, but about finding a way to continue living while honoring the one that we lost. Because I keep saying that over and over because some people feel that if I move through this phase, that means that I'm letting go of my loved one. The memory will always be there, okay? But you're learning to release the pain and receive the love of the process. So meaning doesn't erase the pain, but it helps you shape your grief into something that allows you to grow, to find peace, and to continue to move forward in hope. In hope. So, lastly, what I want you to do, that last sheet, I want you to answer those 3 questions. What is one lesson or value that your loved one has left with you that you will carry forward? Or if it's a non-death loss, you can just think of what lesson have you learned because of that non-death loss. Then ask yourself, what is a favorite memory symbol that represents your loved one or the loss you've experienced, and in what ways has this loss shaped or changed you? So take a moment and write those down. All right. You can continue writing. want if you still write it, but for me, it says, what is one lesson or value that your loved one left with you that I'll carry forward? And my mother told me to take care of your body for self-care. I'm taking that forward. Take care of my body. That's something that I'm taking forward. It says, what is a favorite memory or symbol that represents my loved one or memory? Uh, Friday night. Our mama would cook every night, but Friday night we eat some everything. Oh, that was the best chicken ever. That was a chicken. Every Friday. That is a vivid, happy memory for me. So I like that. And then also peace from my daddy. That's another memory and simple peace. I always want to strive for peace. He's a peaceful man. I call him my peaceful giant. And then lastly, said as well ways has a small shape or change. I walk in freedom. I get so many people coming and say, man, your journey helps me to understand what it's like to be free. I walk in freedom and I have my identity. I'm solid in who I am. Prior to all of that, I wasn't. I struggled with imposter syndrome and all of that. Okay? So these are some things that have definitely been an impact as a result of going through my pain. So tell me what's some of y'all. You can just throw out any of the things that you wrote down. I'm going to write them here. Always say I love you. Okay? Oh, this is glad to come to me in heaven. Always say I love you. Okay? Shelly, you had your hand up. What's another? Yeah. Come on, yes, sir. Y'all clapping. Y'all black. Shelly, what's yours? So going out, venturing, dancing, so different restaurants, okay, dancing. Anybody else? What's on your sheet?
Good looking.
Huh?
Good looking.
He's good looking. Woo, that's on memory. Good looking. I put that in the middle. I like the good looking man too. All right, somebody else. What you got? Celebrating others, okay? Smell up the house. Sunday dinners. Sounds like your house was kind of like my mom's house on Sundays, like soul food Sunday. Sunday dinners, and what was your celebrating what? Celebrating the accomplishment of others, okay. Man, when my mom was dying, she was in a hospice house. And we stayed there until she died, and they went to go get a movie. They said, let's go get a movie for the kids, because it was a hospice house, they had a movie theater. And someone went home and got the movie Soul Food. And I said, y'all didn't think this thing through, did you? You know Big Mama dies in the movie, right? Our mother is physically dying. You gonna give the kids a movie? Like, oh, okay, that's what we doing. Y'all didn't think about it. Okay, what y'all do on this side? He said something. Anybody else? What y'all got? Self-care. Okay, so that's a good memory there. Self-care. Things that you're doing. Anybody else?
My mother used to always say, be careful what you speak out your tongue, because you can say things to people that you can't ever take back.
That be careful of your words. Ooh, that reminds me of something else too, a good meaning. I'm like, should I share this to you? I don't know. Be careful of your words. Mom used to always say, wear clean underwear when you leave the house.
Yeah.
And one day, I got caught in a wreck when I went home, and I said, this is what Mama did. And they would put me in that, and I said, no, I just read it. I said, let me keep up. What's my goal? Y'all see all these colors? This is beauty that has come out of the ashes of your life. Yes, absolutely. So much can come out when you start finding meaning. That means more to you now. Now that mom's not here, but she said it. Okay? It means something to acknowledge others' compliments and accomplishments, all of those things. So you're integrating. What does that mean? Integrating meaning into your life. And remember, you're not there just yet. You'll get there, but you have to get there by participating in your healing. All right? Did y'all get anything out of today's lesson? I need to know what y'all get. All right. Y'all clap for Miss Maria. She
Thank you guys for coming out today as well. I want to just say, Mr. Franklin had told me he was going to be coming in, but evidently he got distracted. We know what's been, you know what, distractions. He got distracted. No, but actually, he told me he was going to Ebenezer Baptist Church, was having their choir, which was going by the choir. So that's where he is today. But I want to say thank you to our staff who came in and helped us to set up and tear down and all and set it for the online. Thank you for that. Next month, you guys, is our last session for the year, which is our session. The name of it is the empty chair. Yeah, so that'll be our last one for the year, and then we take a break in December, and then we come back in January. So you guys be ready for that. I want you to know, guys, I talked about our college student who came home. No, she came home to vote. Give her voting. I hope everybody else has gone to vote or is going. I voted early. So everybody will make sure we, get in line with that because we already know what's coming up. And we're praying for good things. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm saying. Praying for good things. That's actually all we have today. Just thank you all for coming. Everybody, we're going to go ahead and dismiss and grab a snack and we'll see y'all next month. Thank you.